When the comedic side character villains get decapitated before the episode hits 10 minutes, you know they're done playing. Alright guys, this episode's a big one. We are kicking off the final arc of the season. Let's go! This is Call to Action Revisited. Okay, I'm gonna do this first because it's the least relevant to the episode, but I still wanted to point it out. Look how pretty Rebels is. Okay, now let's get into it. You can immediately feel the shift in tone right from the opening scene when Tarkin rolls up. He really changes the game from the second he walks in. The Imperial March blaring, Tarkin's no-nonsense way of calling out the failure of the Empire on Lothal, like, it's literally such a shift. I love the fact that the show directly deals with the incompetence of the Empire on Lothal. I see a lot of people criticize the show for making the Empire look weak or stupid, but the show, like, literally addresses that. I don't think the Empire is so weak or stupid on Rebels once major players like Tarkin, Vader, or Thrawn are brought in. Tarkin takes an individual stab at every major Imperial character we've gotten to know this season, and, like, there are consequences for their incompetence. Then the episode cuts right to some antics of the Ghost Crew outsmarting Imperials just to drive home the necessity of Tarkin's appearance and the truth in his words. So I don't think the Empire was portrayed so terribly on the show, because the writers are aware of the failures that they wrote in, and they are aware that failure has consequences. Okay, so this next thing never stuck out to me before, but it had me internally screaming this time around, so let's talk about it. The Ghost Crew is watching, I don't know, like the news or something, and it's showing Gall Trayvis going back to the Empire and giving a statement about the rebellion. And Trayvis says of his followers, these were good people who simply wanted to make the Empire a better place, and he says most of them would turn around and be loyal to the Empire. What a scary thing to say. Like, what a scary piece of propaganda. Like, to feign sympathy or good feelings at all towards the rebellion. Like, regular citizens would be so easily tripped up by that sort of talk, thinking the Empire hears them and knows they want better and sympathizes with them. And at the same time, it twists the goal of the rebellion, and that goal is not to reform the Empire, but to abolish and replace the institution. He's sort of de-radicalizing the rebellion, almost. Like, Travis's words could convince any civilian that unrest might come from a place of patriotism, but it really doesn't. Like, there's no loyalty here. There's no belief that the Empire can be fixed. The rebels don't have faith in the Empire. They want to take it down and start something new. So Travis's propaganda it's unsettling. And, like, after faking explicitly rebellious acts, Trayvis calls the rebellion violent and frightening. Like, he was contributing to the rebellion. I mean, obviously he was faking it, but he was contributing to the rebellion. And then he says that they are violent, and frightening. Yeah, he says that he says that the rebels twisted his explicitly anti-Empire words. He's lying and rewriting the narrative against the rebels. We've established that I think Trayvis is the worst, but he's the worst. It's just unsettling to watch this. So then the Ghost Crew plans to retaliate by using the Empire's tower to send out a transmission of truth and hope, and I don't know why, but it makes my heart smile that it was Kanan's idea. Like, he's the one who said, let's retaliate by giving the people hope, and, like, I love that it was him. I don't know, you'd think that Hera would be more likely to suggest it, but, like, no, it was Kanan. His heart. My heart. Okay, so the decapitation scene. Tarkin says of Kanan, I am not concerned with his skills as a warrior, I am concerned with what he represents. He's concerned that Kanan represents hope, and, like, that hits hard to me. that the Empire is consciously, deliberately concerned with snuffing out any sense of hope in the galaxy. I mean, that's obvious, but it's just the fact that Tarkin, like, said it, you know? So, when Oresco and Grint are decapitated, notice Tua and Callus's reactions. And keep in mind they both defect. An Imperial shouldn't have a reaction that's, like, that visual, don't you think? They'd keep a straight face and stand stiffly and hope that their superior doesn't notice the sweat on their brow. But these guys, they fully react. It's a small but humanizing moment for the two of them that sets them both up to defect. I got one of the teachers at my school to watch Rebels, and when we talked about call to action, that moment actually made him predict that Callus was going to defect. Okay, I love the part where Ezra uses the Lothcat to take out the probe droid, and Kanan just stops for a whole moment to be like, good thinking, Padawan. And Sabine is like, really guys, right in the middle of a mission, and it just... Kanan loves Ezra so much. Like, he stopped in the middle of an op just to tell Ezra he's proud of him. Kanan loves Ezra so much. Okay, so the Ghost Crew's plan. Their plan is to break into an Imperial building and do their thing, and then they all escape in a getaway car and make it out alive if all goes well. And it's achingly familiar. And especially because of how this episode, like, ends, I think that this episode is probably, like, the most explicit pre-season 4 Jedi Knight foreshadowing in the series. Okay, I really like Ezra and Kanan's conversation that happens here. When Kanan notices something's up with Ezra, he conversationally says, let's take a walk. And I appreciate how Kanan has worked to deliberately create a safe emotional space for Ezra. And I love how on this show, characters acknowledge when others are feeling down, and the conversation is hardly ever, what's up? I'm fine. Like, they don't let each other off. They say, you have to talk about your feelings, and it's okay to talk to me. And then they actually tell each other about their feelings. Whack. Now let's just unpack this next part line by line.
My parents spoke out, and I lost them. And I don't want to lose you guys, okay? Not over this.
Shoot. I mean, I'm glad that they addressed this because it makes so much sense for Ezra to feel this way. It wouldn't make sense for Ezra to be completely comfortable with the rebellion because acts of rebellion dismantled his life. And like, when he says to Kanan, I don't want to lose you guys, not over this, like, oh my god, I could die. I feel like my heart is going to break in a fiery burst when I think about Ezra here. Like, he lost everything for so long, and the way that he clings to the Ghost Crew is desperate. It's like, he finally has a family again, but every day is a new risk of losing that family, and it just hurts so much. The trauma of losing his family has caused him to cling to the Ghost Crew because of how positively they've treated him, and like, he hasn't grown enough to lose them yet. He won't lose anyone for good just yet, but like, the thought of what it might feel like to him that he could lose them? Ouch.
All of us have lost things, and we will take more losses before this is over, but we can't let that stop us from taking risks. We have to move forward, and when the time comes, we have to be ready to sacrifice for something bigger.
Shut up, Kanan. This quote, like, kinda hits different right now. Anyway, as far as the episode is concerned, this quote foreshadows, like, the end of the episode, yeah, but it also foreshadows... Well, you know what it foreshadows. We don't have to say it. And shut up, Kanan. It also reflects how Kanan applies Jedi philosophy to his life, which in turn reflects a part of Dave Filoni's idea of the core Star Wars concepts that he talked about in the Mandalorian docuseries, and those concepts would be a family dynamic and a selfless act. Obviously, this reflects the concept of a selfless act. Next line.
That sounds good, but it's not so easy.
That's real right now, isn't it?
It's not easy for me either. My master tried to show me, but I don't think I ever understood it until now, trying to teach it to you. I guess you and I are learning these things together.
I appreciate how Kanan is so open in admitting that he struggles with these feelings too. It's important that he's real with Ezra and make sure Ezra sees that he's just as human as everyone else, you know? He's not some impenetrable beacon of endless strength just because he's a mentor figure. He has fears, worries, and insecurities just like Ezra does. And the fact that he lets Ezra see that makes their bond so much deeper. Like, their openness goes both ways. Also, I love Kanan's acknowledgement that being a teacher is teaching him a lot. Alright, so the ending. When Kanan says, "I'll take the next one. Ezra, I'll be right behind you." It really felt familiar to me. It is the first time my master has ever lied to me. I've been, rereading the Kanan comics, and this is something that jumped out to me. I also saw someone on here make a post about it, but I don't remember who it was, so sound off in the comments if it was you. I don't want to be, like, stealing your idea. So, when Order 66 hits, Master Balaba tells Caleb, "Go, I'll be right behind you." And Caleb knows she's lying. Those are her last words to him. And now Kanan is telling the same lie to Ezra. Well, 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 how the turntables. When Kanan jams the elevator. Just end me. I'll never forget the way that my stomach turned watching that for the first time. I appreciate how Kanan and the Inquisitor's battles get more complex as Kanan becomes more confident in his skills. Obviously, their final battle takes the cake by far, but you definitely see, like, a difference each time, and I think that's cool. You guys, Kanan's sacrifice hits so heavy, especially on the revisit. Like, oh, the foreshadowing of it all. I will say, I appreciate that they made this decision to turn Kanan over to the Empire and committed to it. As we find out in the next 2 episodes, he endures a lot in the hands of the Empire. The writers didn't just let him off easy. You know, like, the Ghost Crew didn't just come rescue him just like that. Like, they actually took multiple scenes spanning 2 episodes to show us that this was a sacrifice and his actions did have consequences. And then, of course, Ezra's message. I tried to post this clip before and Instagram made me take it down. And I don't want to risk having to take this video down, so I'm just gonna read the whole thing, because the whole thing deserves to be here. "We have been called criminals, but we are not. We are rebels, fighting for the people, fighting for you. I'm not that old, but I remember a time when things were better on Lothal. Maybe not great, but never like this. See what the Empire has done to your lives? Your families and your freedom? It's only gonna get worse, unless we stand up and fight back. It won't be easy. There'll be loss and sacrifice, but we can't back down just because we're afraid. That's when we need to stand the tallest. That's what my parents taught me. That's what my new family helped me remember. Stand up together, because that's when we're strongest, as one." When I got to that on this rewatch, I was literally watching it with my hand over my mouth, like this. Like, literally watching it like that. It just, it hits hard. I think that it speaks for itself. Just powerful freaking words from Mr. Ezra Bridger. I don't think anything can follow those beautiful words. So with that, I think I'll end this installment. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you always.